On this episode of RCKicks, we're taking a look at another unicorn. Yes, that's 2 in 1 week. If you haven't seen the short wheelbase cat video, I'll put a link at the end of this video. But today we're diving into this, the RC10 Worlds car. I tell you what, there better be a gold bar in this for the amount of money that I had to spend out to get it. So in this episode, let's open it up and take a look at what you get for all that money. Roll the VT, Charlie. So if you've been watching the show for a while, you know that I've been trying to hunt down an RC10's World car, but they have become A, very hard to find, and B, extremely expensive for what they are. Now, my original plan was I had an RC10 Gold Pan vintage one, which is this one, and I also had a Riri one. The Riri one was built when I bought it, but it had never been run. So I looked at the prices and they are quite close. So I sold the RC10 Gold Pan, unfortunately, last month. Well, it kind of makes sense why I have two the same, even though one's vintage and one's new. I took that money and then I put it into this so that I can build it on the show and also experience building a brand new RC10 for myself. So yes, I managed to pick up one, and that's what we have here. Now, the Worlds car didn't come straight after the Gold Pan. There was a graphite, which luckily enough, I happen to have a graphite as well. There's an unrestored one, but in reasonably nice condition. Well, the chassis is anyway. The body will be replaced. I'm having it professionally painted, so that will be here in the next month, I would have thought. So the Worlds car, what's so special, I hear you cry? Well, let's get rid of these, open up the box, and while we're looking through the parts, I'll go through all the history. The team associated RC10 Gold Pan was a massive hit. The iterations that followed helped shape future designs of the whole racing industry. The graphite version followed in 1989, but a year later the metal chassis made a return to the RC10 Championship Edition in 1990. The Championship Edition was updated with a new transmission in 1992 to create the Team car in 1993. The 92 champion Brian Kinwald won his first IFMAR World Championship. To celebrate that win, Team Associated released the RC10 Worlds car with Brian's paint job on the box that we know and love today. After more than 2 decades, Team Associated re-released the RC10's World car. The re-release had some updates. The battery compartment and straps have been designed to accept more modern LiPo batteries. Many of the suspension components have been worked on to increase durability and performance. To deal with modern brushless power, CV axle and driveshaft transfer power from the transmission outwards. A version 2 slipper clutch and tough black plastic gear cover are welcome upgrades to this vintage buggy. Unfortunately, on opening up the box for the first time, I was greeted with oil everywhere. From what I can see, the damper oil had leaked out inside the bag and had spread out inside the whole box. One thing that was a bit of luck was the actual manual and stickers are sealed in a plastic bag, so none of the oil got into the paper or the stickers and destroyed them. So everything seems to be okay, and I just had to clean everything down a bit. Now, I'm no Team Associated hardcore fan, and these cars were never around when I was younger. I mean, I was into my Grasshopper and my Falcon, so as you can imagine, these kind of cars were miles away from the sort of things that I was playing with. But since I've got back into RC, I really started to get into these cars, and now having the opportunity to own a few of them, they're actually beautiful. The RC10 Worlds car was a car that I really wanted to add to the collection, but not from a nostalgia point of view, just from a beautiful look. Me personally, I think these vintage buggies in this kind of era were the best looking buggies of their time. Compared to the new things that we see with the cab forward stuff today, these are just a million miles better, in my opinion. So there's a few vintage cars from Team Associated that I'd like to add to the collection, but as prices have risen, this makes it even harder. I would like a team car, maybe a championship edition, but also I'd like a B2. B3 is where it starts to change for me, and I don't like those more modern versions versus the really old stuff. Now, there's that age-old debate about when you bring out a re-release, it actually damages the price of the vintage buggies. Now, looking at the way that Team Associated have done it, I think it's worked very well. The prices of the re-releases have come up to meet the actual prices of the vintage buggies. I think a lot of that is to do with that Team Associated have been very clear that they're not actually going to do a reissue of these re-releases. Comment below, let me know what you think. Do you think re-releases are a really bad idea, or do you think they're a really good idea for people that never had the opportunity to own them back in the day? So what do you think of the RC10 Worlds car? Do you think Team Associated should bring out another buggy in the range? I don't know. It would be nice to see something else. What do you think it should be? Comment below, let me know. But before we build this on the show, we have to build the biggest release of 2022. That's the Kyosho Mid that's just dropped. So that's going to be built first before we return back to this. So hit that bell notification so you don't miss out. See you on the next one. Bye-bye.